Were you always very entrepreneurial?
No, for sure. I definitely was not. I think that it kind of started in college. I went to FSU and I swam there, and I had like a million different t-shirts, and I didn't want to throw them away. But also I have 3 kids and they're little, and I guess the great thing about this business is that I can be there for pickup, and I can say, you know what, I need to be at, Mother's Day at the school on that day, so I'm not,
You have the flexibility.
Yes. So I think that's like the biggest lesson that I'm still learning. And delegate, I would love to be better at delegating, letting a little go, so that somebody could do it probably better than I could.
Right.
But I'm definitely learning that.
Yes,
for sure.
And I think something that I've learned probably within the last couple of years is that not every client is your client. Today on the Founders Circle Podcast, we welcome one of my favorite people, Abbie Garcia-Tunon. You might know her as GT Stitchery, and I hope that you will enjoy this conversation. It was truly a great one. Abbie, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited. I know that this has been a long time coming to have you on. A little bit of a spoiler, we're friends in real life. I love you. I tell you all the time, you are the most creative person I have ever met. There's no bone in my body that can measure up to your creativity. You are the owner of GT Stitchery, that I had the pleasure of kind of from behind the scenes see you start during COVID. Were you always very entrepreneurial?
No, for sure. I definitely was not. I think that it kind of started in college. I went to FSU and I swam there, and I had like a million different t-shirts, and I didn't want to throw them away. And my mom was always sewing, and she, growing up, she would always say, come over here, let's make something, let's make a pillowcase. Or I just really didn't want to. I never really wanted to learn. I kind of got it a little bit, but it wasn't until college when I had all those shirts that I don't want to throw away. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to make these t-shirt quilts out of them. So I bought a Singer sewing machine, and I took it out of the box. And I'm like, I don't even know how to turn it on.
Oh my gosh.
I called my mom. I'm like, okay, how do I thread it? How do I, go about doing it? And it's really frustrating if you're starting off from like pretty much nothing. So I, little by little, I YouTubed a lot.
I was thinking this is before YouTube, but so YouTube was...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would go online, and also at FSU, I was in grad school at this point. And there was a professor there that kind of took me under her wing. She was in I don't remember what it was called, but it was like textiles and designs. And she was like, hey, do you want to sew like a game day dress together? I'm like, yes. So she kind of took me under her wing, and we started sewing together. And instead of like partying on the weekends, I would go hang out with this lady and we sew. Javi thought it was great, my husband. But that's kind of how it started. And then I opened an Etsy store, sewing blankets and baby quilts and bows. And then it kind of took off after that. So.
And you, going back to COVID, because I remember that everybody was looking for masks, and you started what felt like mass producing. And it was crazy. It was so crazy. And what a challenge to meet the opportunity, right? Because we always talk about, tiny and everybody's lucky, but it's also what you do with the opportunity. And at that moment, you were working like crazy. You were raising young babies. We should probably back up to like the beginning of GT Stitchery, because you were doing it during nap times, before wake-ups, at crazy hours. Yeah. Like, what propelled you to start that and also take on that, crazy schedule to push this forward, push this other baby forward?
Well, before COVID, like when my kids were really little, I have 3 kids. So when I guess my middle one was a baby, I stopped with my full-time job because 2 kids staying at home, it was crazy. So I just kind of leaned into my part-time. I was a seamstress for a company in Colorado, and they'd send me a big bag of fabric and I'd sew for them and ship it back to them. That was like the bows. And so they let go of all their seamstresses during COVID. And I was like, oh, finally, when, I'm about to send all 3 of my kids to school, when I have all this time to sew during the day, they let go of all their seamstresses. So it was a blessing in disguise, because at that point I was sewing masks for like hospitals when they didn't have enough, or elderly communities. And then when the kids went back to school, I started sewing them for my kids and probably your kids.
Yeah, that's my gator.
Yes.
Boss with my initials.
And then it just like the teachers and kids would ask me where are these masks from, and then then I started sewing them for friends, and I'm like, wait, I could add this to my business. So that's how the embroidery kind of evolved into it, because I put the kids' names on it so that they wouldn't get like mixed up during lunchtime, or they wouldn't grab the wrong mask. And I would do it in like fun like either Disney fabrics or the character fabrics that they would like and wouldn't mind wearing. What the straps were tights.
Yes,
like ballerina.
I wasn't uncomfortable.
Yeah, super soft for kids too. Thankfully, the masks didn't last that long, although it came back, baby.
Yes.
But then I started making like holiday shirts, like St. Patrick's Day, Happy St. Patrick's Day with a kid's name on it. And then I just started embroidering like anything and everything.
Yes, and like so beautifully too. So we obviously touched on the emphasis on your creativity. Like, I don't have creativity, but like I'm more like, how can I put this, like in the back end? That's where I like that's not
my if we could combine our talents.
So you have this business, right? Like it's flourishing. I don't even think you have time to think about these questions, but like, how did you transition from an Etsy shop to like a full blown business, entity in that sense? Like, did you seek help in that regard? Like, how did you go from?
I should have. I definitely should have. It was kind of like day by day, figuring it out. I honestly wanted to do just Instagram and sell on Instagram. And my husband's like, no, let's like create a website. So we didn't know how to do that. We, researched, how do you create a website? Which is the best one? We picked Shopify, which has been amazing. And I'm so glad that I kind of stepped away from, only Instagram or just Etsy, and really had like a home base, so that instead of people messaging me, hey, can you do this for me? And then it get lost in my DMs, because my DMs are,
I can just imagine, like, I don't, yeah.
And I'll see them when I'm driving, or like in the middle of when I'm at my kid's basketball game, and I can't like write it down. I'm still like a paper and pen kind of girl.
Yes,
so
same.
I can't write it down, so I have to like leave it as unread. But with the website, everything is there. Like the spelling of the name is there. What font they want to pick is there on their order. So I can always go back to home base. But I wish I had like somebody to tell me, okay, this is the first step. This is what you need to do first. But I kind of just jumped in. And I think that's kind of how it worked. Was I was okay with saying yes, and I was okay with being uncomfortable and kind of learning as I went.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy. Like, I look back and I'm like, man, I don't know if I could do that again, but
I'm sure you could.
And we're still learning.
Yeah.
I'm still learning as I go, and there's so much that I could do, but also I have 3 kids and they're little, and I guess the great thing about this business is that I can be there for pickup, and I can say, you know what, I need to be at, Mother's Day at the school on that day, so I'm not,
you have the flexibility.
Yes.
Which we should say that, yes, you have the flexibility, but it doesn't evaporate, right? The work and the responsibility doesn't just go away just because you said no. So like, what really happens is, okay, you block 2 hours to be at your school, but then that means you're working late.
Right.
Or like working a weekend, or like, I don't know, doing crazy, somersaults to be able to fit everything in that you have to do. One thing that I want to touch on is, because as an outsider, I've been able to see the trajectory, you see the journey of your business. And what I've loved is that it truly is a family business, and that your husband helps you, who also has a full-time job. Your kids are very involved too, to the extent that they can be, right? They're in school, they have homework, but they're able to witness, all the hard work. How has that been, like, sort of integrating the business into your life versus the business is your whole life?
Right. I think that's my biggest why, is my family and my kids seeing the hard work and the long hours. And yes, sometimes I'll have to miss a soccer game to be at an event. But they know that, my dedication and the hard work does pay off. It is challenging, but I think that the benefits definitely outweigh the struggle. So,
and how do you, so when Abbie came in, I hope you don't mind me sharing, is that at, I don't know, 5 something in the morning, I was working out, and I could see on my screen that you were working out. So I know that beyond this business, you have a million other things going on in addition to being a wife and a mom. So how do you structure your day, or how do you find balance to be able to fit other things in? Because you're an amazing athlete. We should say that too. So like, how do you do all these things while staying sane?
And although I don't,
Yeah.
I don't stay sane. I'm training for a marathon. That is not, that's insanity. No, I think I am just wired differently, where I need, and I know you're the same way.
Yeah.
I need to work out first thing in the morning,
Yeah.
sweat, get the endorphins to start my day out on the right step. And I also, so I do wake up at like 4 a.m. to get a workout in. And then once we take the kids to school, I'll normally write in a gratitude journal, which I just started like a year ago. And I feel like that really puts my life into, and I just am able to see like an overview of everything and realize, okay, that everything is going to work out.
I know.
And
It's so hard on ourselves
yes,
sometimes.
there's a lot going on, but it's just like the little things, you take it step by step. Today, this is what I'm going to tackle. If I don't get to it, that's okay. I can do it maybe at night, or maybe I'll just do it the next day.
Right.
But it's also knowing that my kids are only going to be this little right now. So I need to also balance, which is impossible, but try and find a way to do it all without doing it all.
I know. And also trying to not go crazy while you're doing it.
Right. Yeah.
And so like, what is your hope for GT Stitchery moving forward?
I think right now it's at a position where, work is coming in and it's flowing really nicely. I could definitely push for more. And I think as the kids grow older, I will push for more. But it's the finding the balance and navigating that right now. Eventually, I would like to hire more so that I can have GT Stitchery at a lot more events, and me physically not have to be at the events,
Right.
so that I can be present for my kids. But that does take a lot of steps to get to that point. But I don't know.
I think that you touched on something that's important, because we get so enveloped in trying to grow and trying to reach a certain number, right? But the reality is you forget. It's like that whole little story that you see about the old man. It's like, well, yeah, you make more money so that you could get more fish, so that at that point, and then you could come right back to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very a reality for a lot of entrepreneurs. You're always like trying to get to that next level, that next number, whatever. But like, what are you sacrificing, right, to be able to do that? And why are we not content at a certain, at a space that makes us feel okay, that also gives us the flexibility to do the things that are the reasons why we went on our own, right?
Exactly.
And so I think that you touched on a point. It's like you need to also be happy where you're at. I'm not saying like you can't continue to grow. You shouldn't strive for that, but like at the expense of what?
I was, in the beginning, I was staying up until like midnight. I would drink coffee. Now I can't do this, but I would drink coffee at like 11 o'clock at night so that I could finish my work and prepare everything that I was going to do the next day. And then wake up still at like 4:35 in the morning. And I was just like running myself to the ground. And I realized that I can't do that forever.
Yeah.
So finding that, I'm working hard when I'm at work, and then being able to sort of put down the phone, put my computer to the side when I'm at home with my kids, and being okay with that.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. There's no you can't clock out when your name is on the brands, or when it's your business, there's no clocking out at 5.
No, absolutely not.
So,
and I've seen you travel with your embroidery machine. Like if that doesn't scream out commitment, I don't know what does. And that's the reality. I said it today, like I'm going on vacation now. And of course my laptop's coming. It's like, there's no way you can really disconnect 100% when it's your business, and even if you hire the staff, the reality is you need to oversee what your staff is doing, because if they don't do it right, your clients are going to be like, well, there's, such and such company that will do it, so there's always other competitors that are willing and ready to take your client. So it is a balance. It's like, okay, well, you want the work product to get done, but you also have to remember that it can't be at the expense of your health, because nobody's going to be able to give that back to you, regardless of what number you reach in your business, and your family and your kids, because ultimately, you just said it, your kids are your why. But like, if you're not there to see them or, enjoy this phase of their life, then really what's the point? Right. What is one lesson that you wish that you know now, or that you've learned now, that you wish you would have known when you started GT Stitchery?
Saying no.
Yeah.
I am very, very bad at saying no. Yeah. I do not embroider customer provided items. And in the beginning I did. I took everything, like horses, saddles, you name it, I would stitch. Yeah. Even if I had no idea how to do it. And I learned that I cannot say yes to every single opportunity. Yes is a great thing, but for certain things, it's okay to say no. And I'm still really bad at saying no, but I realize that an easy, sorry, I don't do that, is so much easier than, okay, let me see how I could get, right. So I think that's like the biggest lesson that I'm still learning. And delegate. I would love to be better at delegating, letting a little go, so that somebody could do it probably better than I could.
Right.
But I'm definitely learning that.
Yes,
for sure.
And I think something that I've learned probably within the last couple of years is that not every client is your client. And like and it's your problem to be okay with that. Like it's not their problem, like whatever their response to your no is, like you have to just let it be. Like you can't struggle with that internally, because then you'll carry that. But the reality is there's a client for you, and your peace of mind is going to be worth so much more than whatever that one transaction, one client, whatever is. And what do you hope that your kids will take away from having witnessed this, like this rise of GT Stitchery, this ride that it is?
I think just being okay to jump in, maybe not being ready, like you're never going to be ready, and just jump in and figure it out. It's okay. There'll be some times that are tough, but you'll make your way out of it, and you'll be so much stronger from doing it. So
Do you think any of your kids will take after you? Like, will want to carry that tradition?
I don't know. I think that they thought it was fun in the beginning. I think that they hopefully will want to be entrepreneurs, but whatever they are passionate about, I think it is great.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of doubt that they'll get into embroidery.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You never
saying
know.
that you only do embroidery is not really. You're so creative. You do so many things. Like, if you saw this woman's like costumes that her and her husband did for her kids, like when they were little, like you'd be flabbergasted, especially like from someone that like just looks at that and gets overwhelmed
Gosh.
at being able to do that. So I don't know. I would not be surprised seeing you transition into doing other things. So beyond just embroidery with GT Stitchery. Thank you so much for doing it.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so
This is
excited.
great.
Yeah, I love having you on, and I don't know. Let's
Thank
do it
you.
again.
Yes, anytime.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I enjoyed having it. Thank you to Abbie for joining me. Follow her for all of your embroidery needs at GT Stitchery on Instagram. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to this channel and tell me, who do you want us to interview next?